Welcome to your Money in the Bank 2024 review. The show came from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it's the second of 3 nights in a row WWE's running there. SmackDown on Friday night, then Money in the Bank, and then NXT Heatwave on Sunday. So there were 5 matches on this show. The show went about 3 hours and 3 hours and 20 minutes. And the thing about this show, man, is, I did a video comparing how AEW and WWE do their pay-per-views, and how, one crams in a lot of matches and goes 4 or 5 hours. The other one, not only did this show start at 7 and not at 8, which was interesting, but it also was just 5 matches. But the big complaint to me was, in between some of the matches, man, it took forever. They had a Gunther video package, which I'm not against because he is the next challenger. They had a lot of different video packages. That was kind of the story of the show. But I think the most memorable thing about this show, there's 2 things. The Drew McIntyre CM Punk angle, which I'm going to talk about here shortly, and the John Cena surprise appearance and announcement, who he came back on this show to announce that he is starting his last run. He had a shirt that said, "The last time is now," or something like that. The last time is now. And he announced that WrestleMania, or that Royal Rumble, Chamber, and WrestleMania are his last 3 times at those events. So he'll be retiring at WrestleMania in Vegas. That's going to be an even bigger show now with that match on the card. John Cena against an opponent to be determined at WrestleMania 41. That's big. That is big news. Cena came out to a huge ovation, announced it. Very emotional. A lot of my friends who were younger than me were telling me about their Cena memories, how that was like their Hulk Hogan. So, very, very, very powerful stuff. But at least he gets to go out. And I don't think he'll be done forever. I think he'll come back once in a while. But he gets to go out on his terms, and that's always good. And actually, during the press conference, Cena did say that he's going to wrestle all throughout the year. So it'll be January to December. So he'll be there the whole year. And therefore, his last match will not be at WrestleMania, but it will be his last WrestleMania. They opened up with the men's Money in the Bank, and immediately I thought, okay, I think Drew's going to win, and Punk will screw him either tonight or at SummerSlam. Yes, maybe it was a bit too telegraphed, but that is what happened. We'll talk about that when we get there. But the match was great. I got to give credit to Chad Gable, man. He went out there and just did an unbelievable job. And then, besides that, Carmelo Hayes, here's a guy, man, NXT most of his career, got called up to the main roster earlier this year, has been killing it character-wise. This is a big opportunity for him. He also showcased his skills very much so. Drew McIntyre won. We're going to get to the outcome of that later, but after this match, and it was good, although it wasn't as good as maybe some of the previous year's Money in the Bank men matches, it was good for what it was. Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. Very much a David versus Goliath type of match. I was wondering if they were going to switch the title over to Braun Breaker now, because he is getting a monster push. And they did not switch the title, but they had a really good match. The match really told a great story about how Breaker was just completely overpowering him and just a complete monster, and Sami had to fight from underneath. Very similar to the match he had with Gunther. Very, very, very similar. This one, though, I think maybe felt a bit more fast-paced. It was a bit more fast-paced than the Gunther match, but it was a hell of a one-on-one match. And, I mean, Braun Breaker, I don't know, again, wrestling fans don't know what they're talking about. I don't think Braun Breaker's hurt at all by this loss. I think he got a taste of the gold, and he didn't get it done this time, but I think he has a bright future. I just don't think that, I don't see that being an issue. I do not see that being an issue at all. I think Sami Zayn winning is okay. Where do you go with Braun Breaker from here? I mean, I don't know. Ricochet's gone, so that's not going to happen. But Sami's title reign is not over yet. And I do like these David and Goliath stories. Eventually it'll catch up to him, though, whenever that time is. Whenever it comes. Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. This match, though, if Rollins won, Priest has to leave the Judgment Day. But if Priest won, Rollins can never challenge for the World Heavyweight title ever again as long as he is champion. So, big reaction for Rollins. This is his first match since WrestleMania. And it was this match. I mean, I made the joke to my friend. This was a Ring of Honor world title match right out of like 2011, 2012. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit before then. It was just one of those types of matches. This is something like you'd see on an AEW pay-per-view. And that is a complimentary thing because these two guys went out there and worked. There were a couple of awkward moments with Priest. The thing about Priest is he's a very tall man with like long like arms and legs. So when he does certain spots, especially high-flying ones, they look a little weird and they're harder for him to time. So maybe, I mean, I don't want him to change his moveset because he's super athletic for a guy, his size. But maybe he should think about maybe reducing it a bit only because some of the stuff does look weird. It reminded me of that when his boot got caught in the ropes in the last pay-per-view. So the story here was, of course, that Drew McIntyre cashed in. Now, instead of being smart and waiting until after the match, Drew McIntyre instead cashed in during the match, making it a triple threat match. Now, when a match becomes triple threat, there are no disqualifications. There must be a winner. So McIntyre gets in the ring. You have to remember that. Does the future shock DDT. He's about to hit the Claymore. Priest stops him. Then he got kicked. And then McIntyre was about to finish off Priest. But then CM Punk, again, from the crowd, ran in to attack Drew McIntyre. He hit him with a chair. Threw him into the timekeeper's area. Hit him with the chair again. Then he looked at the world title. And then I thought he was going to walk away with it. But instead he hit McIntyre with the world title. And literally sat cross-legged on the commentary table. Sort of like gloating or, looking at his handiwork. This, of course, would lead to McIntyre getting the South of Heaven chokeslam put on him by Priest. And getting pinned 1, 2, 3. So now Seth cannot challenge for the title because he did not win the match. And he's going to be mad at Punk. He will be very, very mad at Punk. And Drew McIntyre is furious. Getting screwed for a third time. CM Punk has now screwed Drew out of the title 3 times. WrestleMania. Then, of course, Clash at the Castle. And now here again. I didn't think we were going to see that. But we saw it. And it happened, so that Punk-McIntyre match is going to be crazy. McIntyre did go nuts and get into it with some officials during the post-game. Adam Pearce came out, and even they were almost going at it. Remember, Adam Pearce used to be a wrestler. He used to be Scrap-Iron Adam Pearce, man. If Scrap Daddy comes out of retirement for one match, bro, I would be so happy. Whoa, Black Betty. And only if you got to be an old school indie wrestling fan to know about that. Whoa, Black Betty. Anyways, the Punk feud with McIntyre is awesome. Let's not forget McIntyre destroying him in Chicago. This has been my favorite feud of the year, and they haven't even had a one-on-one match yet. That should tell you right there, man. Build-ups and characters are important. I don't know how I feel about the men's Money in the Bank briefcase being sacrificed this quickly, because they could have done a more interesting story with LA Knight or with Jey Uso or with even Carmelo Hayes holding the briefcase for longer and maybe holding it till next year. But they really wanted to push this, add more heat to the Punk Drew match. But it just, it was a bummer because I was hoping that now we'd see longer Money in the Bank, periods. But let's not forget that when Priest cashed in on Drew at WrestleMania, he had it for, months and months and months since the previous July. So I guess every year you can't have that. It's okay. It's not the worst thing. Some folks are complaining about it. It's okay. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match was won by Tiffany Stratton, so it's Tiffy time. She beat Chelsea Green, Io Sky, Naomi, Lyra Valkyria, and Zoe Stark. This match was brutal. This match made me question the health of these women. It started off a little bit, it's a good match, but man, the bumps they took were just brutal. There were a couple of points where it looked like somebody was going to get hurt. Like, it was just, and not to say that it wasn't necessarily that they weren't, that the women were messing up necessarily. It's just that some of the moves they were doing were actually like, the definition of high risk. I think Tiffany Stratton winning was the right choice. That's the next, up and comer to get a big push. And I hope with this one they do hold off and give us a big cash in sometime down the road. We'll see where that goes. So, interesting to see where that story goes. But again, brutal match. Hope everybody's okay. Yeah, I haven't read any injury reports or anything. So the main event was a 6-man tag war. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens against the Bloodline, which was Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. Right off the heels of that awesome angle where they betrayed Paul Heyman. No Roman Reigns tonight. But they went out there and had a fun 6-man, albeit not on the level of some of the past few main events we've seen at these, I would say. But still a fun 6-man. And clearly they're setting up 2 matches from this. Cody Rhodes and Solo are going to headline SummerSlam. And I think that's when Roman Reigns will come back. Along with, it sounds like they're going to do Kevin Owens against Jacob Fatu. Which, to be honest, that is a perfect first, singles match for Jacob Fatu. But man, he was the highlight here. You want to talk about protecting. Jacob Fatu is an example of how you get somebody over fast and intelligently. He came in and is just showing his athleticism. Right off the hop, Orton hits him with a draping DDT. He gets right back up. Like, that's kind of how you get these guys over. At one point they're brawling on the outside. They're brawling everywhere. Everyone's just everywhere. Tangaloa comes in. It becomes chaos. The finish, basically, it looked like they were setting up a package pile driver, and Tangaloa saved Tama Tonga with a low blow. But then Randy Orton came in with the RKO, took both of them out. Then the Samoan spike on Randy Orton. Then Cody was about to hit the crossroads. He was about to hit the third one, but then Jacob Fatu came in, hit an implant DDT, Samoan spike by Sikoa. 1, 2, 3. He now pins Cody Rhodes. First time him getting pinned since The Rock pinned him. And that is your SummerSlam main event. So, logically booked show. Yes, I do wish the Money in the Bank was more. Obviously, I wish that they had done more with it. But, hey, it is what it is, man. Yeah, I like the show. Again, it was a good show, not a great show. I thought it was probably the weakest show we've had. I don't know, man. Since maybe December. No, there was no show. I don't know. Probably the weakest show we've had in a while. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just less good than, Clash at the Castle or Backlash France. It's just less good. I would put this on par with probably Elimination Chamber in Australia and Perth. It's about the same. So, enjoyed the show. Again, those are my thoughts, man. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below.